So back in 2013, I decided to build myself a pergola, and this is the structure you see here behind me. I was just going to show a little video about how I built it because it's the time of year when people might be thinking of building such a structure. So that's what this video is about, just a little summary of the design and build of the pergola you see behind me here. So in the summer of 2013, we decided to go ahead and build a pergola for our front garden. Here we are showing squaring up the location of the site using batten boards. Here I've indicated the location of a post so we can actually locate the sonotubes, which we're going to pour cement into to hold the posts. I've just used a 6-inch square piece of cardboard and then threw some flour around it, and then that helps me determine where to dig the hole for the sonotubes. Here in southern Ontario, Canada, we had to dig down a good 3.5 feet to get below the frost line. So here you can see the hole after it's being dug. And now I put my son to work mixing some cement to put into the holes. As you can see, the tops of the sonotubes here sticking out of the ground, and we have to fill them all up 3.5, 4 feet deep, leave them sticking up about 6 inches above the ground. And then now we've installed the metal saddles that will hold the posts, and these would have to set for a certain number of hours, at least a day or more. Now we've erected the main posts on these piers and cross members. We've got some 45-degree angle boards just holding up each post on the corner straight and level while we assemble the cross members. Here I'm cutting the 2x10 cedar beams and shaping the ends and putting holes in them to attach to the main posts. These basically will have bolts going through them and right through the entire post to the other side. And our old beloved dog Spook loved to watch on as we went through this project. Here now we've got the 4 posts erected, and now we're starting to put on the main side beams, 2x10 side beams. And now we've got both of the side beams up, and we're starting to put the 2x6 cross members on top of the side beams. So now we're just finishing off putting the main beams on. You see here I'm using a drill to go through all of the pieces, the side beams as well as the posts. Had to use a large drill bit for that, and it can be tricky keeping it level. Here you can see it in a better angle. And the finished look with the galvanized bolt heads sticking out one side, and then the inside of the post would have the nuts on them, as you can see here. This was western red cedar beams used here. I believe the main posts were cedar, but they may have been hemlock. I think they were cedar too, though. Now I'm just starting to assemble the top row of cross members, which were all also western red cedar 2x6, and we were attaching these with Simpson strong ties, hurricane ties, or whatever you want to call them. As you can see here, they're very good at attaching vertical members, and eventually I would strap over these with 1x3 cedar strapping just to give extra strength, as you can see here, so the top members don't flip-flop back and forth without anything holding them on the top. And there's sort of the finished version, ready for a Saturday night card game. So for this pergola, I used 6x6 cedar for the posts and the 45-degree angle members in each corner. Those are true 6x6. And then I set them on cement piers, as you can see here at the base, and then they're tied into the piers with the steel flanges at the bottom. So those flanges are cemented into the piers, and then the posts themselves are set into the saddle, the metal saddle on top of the post. Closer look at how I attach the corner members. Again, these are 6x6 timbers, and I lag bolted them in at the bottom onto the post, long lag bolts, and then they meet the top. Where they meet the top cross members, they're screwed in between the two 2x6s on each side. From post to post, strap 2x10s on each side of the posts, as well as the 6x6 corner member here. So here's the 2x10 Western red cedar board strapping down the length of this pergola. I don't think I mentioned the pergola is approximately 10 feet wide and 12 feet long. And for the top members, I used 2x6 red cedar, Western red cedar, and they're held in place on the main cross beams, the 2x10 cross beams, with these metal flanges, and they're held onto the main beams in that way. Just another angle of the pergola here. On top of the cross members, you can see I've strapped 1x3 cedar the other way, just to give strength to the cross members so they don't start bending in or out. They keep the tops of the cross members, the 2x6 cross members, straight. And then on this side, because I installed a trellis network, I put a 4x4 pressure treated post going down to the ground here. You can see it in the middle. It goes down to the ground, and I have it set on a deck block down there at the ground level, just so it's not in the ground, because it would rot eventually. So that just helps support the trellis network, which you can see on the other side here. You can see here how I attach the main beams, the main 2x10 cross beams, to the post. I have long bolts going right through the post, and then nuts on the inside. And you can see I use this pergola to hang various things like planters. Got a birdhouse hidden in here. Hummingbird feeder here hanging off the ends. So I just used a fairly simple design for my cutoffs. You can see they have just a general sweeping upstroke on the ends of the main beams, and I've echoed that with the sweeping cutoff of the top members here, just to give it a more unified look. And you can see it down at the other end. Got a wreath and a wind chimes hanging partway out on the cross members. And this shows the southern side, which I've basically used to abut up beside this existing flower garden. And here's my hummingbird coming to the feeder here. I've got various climbing plants. I have a climbing hydrangea, which isn't doing too well. And then I've got clematis, and then I'll have morning glories later in the summer. I was going to hold off doing this video until everything was in full flower, and I'll probably do one then just to show it, but I thought it might be good to get this out now in case anybody's thinking of building a pergola. This was how we did ours, and I'm pretty happy with it. I capped the main posts with these metal post caps that I got at one of the big box stores. Because these were true 6x6 beams, I actually had to shave the ends down a bit because these caps are made for the standard 6x6 posts that you would buy at box stores, which are actually smaller than true 6x6. They're actually 5.5 by 5.5 size, so I had to shave the ends down to get the caps on. And you can see here also I put some garden art type things, little statues up on the ends. Sometimes I change it up just to give the place a different look. I did put a number of solar lights on the corner posts as well as the top corners of the structure, and they look really pretty at night. I need to probably get a new set. Once the mosquitoes die down a bit, we sometimes come out and set up a little bunch of seats in here and a card table or something, and there's the date. So it's already, hard to believe, 8 years since I built this thing. And it's standing the test of time well. I didn't stain it or paint it or anything. I just left it all natural to gray. And that was one reason I wanted to put these posts on the cement sonotube structures, because that prevents the wood from rotting at all. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this little summary of our pergola and maybe inspire you to try one of your own. They're nice additions to any home's garden area, and you can make them all different sizes. They don't have to be this big. Some people make huge ones that would dwarf this one, and then other ones might be, you know, 5 by 8 feet or whatever size you want to make it. It's all up to yourself and your own design. Now this one, I like the solid heavy look. That's why I used such heavy posts and beams in the corners. Some people build these out of 4x4 posts, and they do fine too. You just might have to do a little bit more bracing and bracketing to give it strength. But I always like this solid, heavy look. Just my preference, and but it's really open to your imagination. I've even thought recently of maybe putting a little peaked roof on here just to give a little bit of more of a building structure look, but haven't decided on that yet. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this. Catch you later.